I already put this over here once, so I'm putting it over here again.
You probably click something that open another window.
I don't know whether I got what, and I got it. Okay. Okay, I think we're in. We actually got it.
Yep.
Now I need to. There we go. I think we're good.
All right. Have a good one, girl.
Hey, have a good one. Thank you, sir. Okay, well, we're started up here, and we are about 3 minutes to go before we start the broadcast. So I'm a little bit early today, but that's good. That's a good sign. I can finish my power drink and a few more vitamins to take. Huh. Yeah, minute and a half. We're all set. And it's time for Discoveries in Health with Doc Truman, the herbalist. Welcome. Welcome to Discoveries in Health. And the room is starting to load up. We're giving people a chance to come into the room. Thank you for joining. And this is Doc Truman, the herbalist. And this is Discoveries in Health. Every Thursday, we have an herbal class and you're welcome. Bring your friends. This is where you ask questions about natural remedies and get answers about how they work. We don't prescribe, we don't diagnose. We're not here selling products. We're here teaching an herb class, and you're welcome. You are welcome to, and we have to come over here and close the mics because as they come into the room, the mics are open, and then we get an echo. So we close them until after the opening prayer, and please keep your microphone muted over there, and we appreciate that, so we don't have echoes and funny sounds and so forth coming through the microphones. Welcome to Discoveries in Health. This is Bishop Dr. Truman Berst, the master herbalist. For over 60 years, I've been doing this and talking about natural remedies. And I want to thank you for joining us. And please ask your questions after we have the opening prayer. My telephone number is 503-362-5899. That's 503-362-5899. And my email address is truman@herbalhealthreview.com. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We welcome your questions. We're here to spontaneously answer questions about natural remedies. That's what we do, and we do it every Thursday for 2 hours. That being said, now you know who we are and what we're doing. And let's go ahead and open this up. And the best way to start anything is with prayer, praising, worshiping, and thanking the Most High God in Jesus Christ's name. And finally, Ephesians 6:10. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, where ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is in the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in bonds, and therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak, but that ye also may know my affairs and how I do. Tychicus, a beloved brother and faithful minister in the Lord, shall make known to you all things. In Jesus Christ's name, all praises to the Most High God. Thank you, praise you, and worship you as we receive your complete, continuous, endless, and limitless blessing for the glory and for the victory of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus Christ's name, we receive. Thank you, the Most High God. So be it. Amen. Let's open up the microphones for anyone who has a question, a topic, a suggestion, something that they would like to learn today or discuss today about natural health and natural herbs, vitamins. I don't see any microphones open at the moment, so let's move on down the trail here, and let's find our topic. Our topic to start with here is over here. Let me go grab it. Let me go grab a topic. I had them on my computer, and I don't see them here now, but that's all right. We're going to pick a topic, and just hold a moment while we do that. Let's get over here and let's go to the end here, and let's get over to the website. ANH, that's USA, that's and there we go. Let's go right over there. Let's pick up something current that's going on, and let's take action on things that are presently impacting us. There are some very meaningful toxic topics. And here's the one I was picking today because it's recent. It's as of April 27, 2023. And the topic is important, so important that it's been swept under the rug all over the place. But here is where you're going to hear about it. Our memories are being erased by breathing toxic pollutants. New research has linked exposure to air pollution with dementia. We find we need the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, to do a much better job to protect the public health, because they're not doing it. They're not doing their job. And that spells death and destruction, illness, pain, and suffering for the United States. But they do not understand what their job is. A new meta-analysis from Harvard University has found a link between exposure to microscopic particulate matter known as PM 2.5, because the particles are less than 2.5 microns in width. That this PM 2.5 is causing dementia. This is just the latest to a laundry list, a long laundry list of scary health effects associated with human exposure to air pollution. But as is too often the case, the EPA is applying the soft touch to address this issue, lest they offend the financial interests of the polluters. I'll say that again. They don't want to offend the polluters, so they're not doing much about this. We must apply pressure to the EPA so the agency looks out for public health, not for industry politics, which is what their track record shows. The researchers looked at 51 studies. The researchers at Harvard University, they looked at 51 studies from North America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. They found that higher exposures to PM 2.5 was associated with increased risk of dementia. For every 2 micrograms, it increases in 2.5 concentration in the air. Dementia risk rose by 4% with 2 micrograms. They found that the dementia in the population increased by 4%. Air concentration of PM 2.5 in cities range from 10 micrograms to more than 100 micrograms in cities. The World Health Organization, WHO, guidelines state that the average annual concentration of PM 2.5 should not exceed 5 micrograms. In other words, they're doing what they normally do, and then they know that even in cities with 2 micrograms, it increases the dementia by 4%. Yet they say it's okay to have 5 micrograms, and then worse. A link to a new study concludes that PM 2.5 has the potential to substantially affect dementia risk globally. Okay, it's not just the United States, it's the whole world. Scientists hypothesize that the tiny PM 2.5 particles enter the circulatory system that fuels the brain. It's causing inflammation and buildup of these beta amyloid levels. That the brains of Alzheimer's patients often have higher than normal levels of beta amyloid that clump together and they form plaques and they disrupt the function of the neurons in the brain. And that's dementia. This is a colossal problem requiring an appropriately bold response. Only 0.18% of the world's population has annual PM 2.5 exposures lower than the guidelines set by the WHO, the World Health Organization. The American Lung Association, in its 2022 State of the Air report, found that more than 4 out of 10 Americans live in areas with unhealthy air quality. Incidence of dementia is set to explode. The number of people with dementia worldwide is predicted to rise from 50 million people in 2020 to 150 million by 2050. Doing nothing about air exposure to air pollution adds fuel to a fire that's already blazing. The EPA is considering a rule change to set the air quality standards to a level between 9 and 10 micrograms, down from 12 to 15. In other words, they did have it set so high that you were guaranteed to get some dementia at 12 to 15. Because remember, it increased by 4% at 2 micrograms. Well, they went down from 12 to 15 down to 9 to 10 micrograms. If the change goes through, it's estimated to prevent, if they go down from 1215 to 910, it's estimated to prevent 4,200 premature deaths per year. That is something. That's something, but it falls well short of having the safe levels set by the World Health Organization to protect human health. The evidence is clear. Reducing air pollution saves lives and increases life expectancy. This isn't the time for half measures. Outdoor and household air pollution accounted for 12% of all deaths in 2019. It's much higher than 12% of all deaths now. A lot of people didn't know that air pollution is accounted for 12% of all deaths, but that was in 2019. And since then, they've ignored it so well that I'm certain it's a lot higher than 12%. Probably more like 20% of the deaths are caused by air pollution. If that isn't proof that our air is poisoned and the EPA isn't doing anything about it, anything productive, really, it's not working. The evidence is now consistently demonstrating that the adverse effects of air pollution are not limited to high exposures, but can be observed at very low concentrations. As mentioned above, dementia is just the latest health effect linked with air pollution. Other research has linked air pollution with heart disease and stroke, low birth weight, circulatory problems, lung cancer mortality. People are dying of lung cancer from this air pollution, and worsening asthma, diabetes, cognitive decline, and early death. That's what it's linked to. It's worth noting that air pollution disproportionately affects vulnerable populations, such as children. They are more at risk. The elderly is more at risk. And those with pre-existing conditions, lung problems, etc., and already have dementia, or already, and those who live in low-income neighborhoods and communities of color, as these neighborhoods can be near highways and industrial plants that generate the highest levels of exposure. The EPA needs to hear from concerned citizens that public health must be more important than industry profits when it comes to controlling air pollution. Our health, particularly the health of our children and other vulnerable groups, depends on the FDA, it depends on the EPA doing its job, not looking out for their special interests in industry. Action alert. Well, here's, you can go on the website ANH, and you can let your senators know that you don't want this to happen. Okay, so that's important. We needed to bring that out. Is there anyone in the room that has a question, a topic, or a suggestion? If you do, please open your microphone, and we will take your question, topic, or suggestion. Well, that's that. This is, a very interesting topic. So let's move on, and let's pick another topic, because I don't see anyone asking for particular information. So let's go find something else, and we'll get that right over here when we click on the Make Lifestyle Changes diet system that we've been looking at. Let's take a look at how to defeat disease by being so healthy you're not a candidate. What can we do? What can we do to increase our chances of having a better quality of life? Well, we would want to start over here on the website, herbalhealthreview.com. And when you're on that website, herbalhealthreview.com, go over to the side panel or the conditions report and click on Make Lifestyle Changes, because I've been working on that and polishing that now for decades, and recently I made some more changes. And the reason why it's so important, your diet is where everything starts. You can't defeat high blood pressure or diabetes without making lifestyle changes. You've got to increase your immune system. You have to make sure your diet is feeding the 37 trillion cells that is in your body. Those 37 trillion cells are all communicating with each other better than any computer they've yet designed. I mean, it knows how to shut things on, turn things off. It's got your brain with neurons here. You got another brain on your heart with neurons, and you got another brain in your stomach with neurons. These are all neurons that are brain cells communicating with each other, making things happen. Your body is very, very complex and extremely efficient. All it requires is the correct nutrition to help balance it out. It's designed to heal itself. If you scratch yourself, then when that scratch heals, wherever that scratch was, the skin will be stronger. That's right, going to be and if you scratch yourself again over here, then the skin will be stronger over there. The body is consistently repairing and making things as good as it possibly can. But if you don't give the body the tools to do its job, too much stress, too much anything, not enough nutrients, not really understanding how to feed and nourish your body so it can repair itself. You need to know how to do that. And that's where you start with the Make Your Lifestyle Changes. One of the studies in October 9 from Boost Mood, randomized control trial evaluating how a Mediterranean diet affects young adults, has linked eating more fruits and vegetables with a reduction in symptoms of depression and stress and anxiety, an observation that may be due to changes in the microbiome. That's where it all happened right there in the stomach. And let's start by looking at an acid alkaline system, dispelling the alkaline versus acidic foods, dispelling main myths. Let's take a look at that. That's a new thing that I added so that you could understand how important getting the right acid alkaline balance, how that would help you to be healthy. But here's how it works. And most people are confused about all the hoopla about whether an alkaline diet is good for you or not. And have you started to think that drinking lots of water and juice to become alkaline is just another diet hype? Well, then you're not alone, because a lot of people are thinking that. Just Google the concepts or go on YouTube. You'll hear various experts that are claiming to tell the truth. Vegan and raw food proponents will tell you that alkaline food is important because an acidic body is an unhealthy and toxic body. I'm going to say that again. An acidic body is an unhealthy and toxic body. While experts who adhere to the paleo and ketogenic diets, which are high in animal protein, will claim that the need for alkaline food is just a myth. So who's telling the truth? The alkaline versus acidity conundrum. It is true. Or is it true? Is it true that foods and drinks we consume can make our body more specifically our blood more acidic Yes, it is indeed true. But because of the body's complex nature, there's more to the story than just being alkaline. Because some parts of the body need to be acidic, but other parts of others, such as the blood, needs to be slightly alkaline. And the foods we eat and the stresses of life, the kinds of beverages we drink, will all affect the outcome. So let us explain in detail, because the body is a complex design of many interactive sets of systems. The digestive system, the lymphatic system, the endocrine systems, as well as complex ecosystems of nerves, organs, fluids, fats, bones, and muscle. Some of these organs, such as the stomach, needs to be acidic in order to digest the food. In fact, the stomach is very acidic. The bloodstream, on the other hand, needs to be slightly alkaline. And because the plasma in the blood is so vital to the optimum functioning of the body's systems, at the end of the day, those proposing an alkaline diet are right. They are right. We need to consume mostly alkaline producing diet to stay healthy. We need to consume an alkaline producing diet. When our diet is too acidic, when it contains too much meat, eggs, sugar, refined carbs, dairy, and grains, those can go so acidic, then the body's buffering system breaks down. And that eventually also makes the blood pH too acidic. This is the missing piece left out by those experts who says that foods and drinks will not affect the body's alkaline and acidic balance. It does. And sometimes with grave consequences. An alkaline versus acidic body can mean the difference between health and sickness. The difference between living long and in vibrant health, or dying early of heart disease, cancer, or diabetes. Let's take a closer look at how all this works. The hidden truths of the body's pH. Acidity and alkaline levels are measured on a pH scale of 1 to 14. The stomach is between 1 to 2 on this scale, and thus very acidic. The slightly alkaline blood, on the other hand, has a pH between 7.36 and 7.50. That's the pH of the blood. The pH level of our blood is regulated by a complex system of buffers, which are at work 24/7. They never sleep. The body is just continually going to maintain the narrow range of alkalinity in the blood. I mean, it's staying right on track. It's like a truck driver watching that line as he's going down the road, staying right on it. Because of this fact, the paleo adherents confidently proclaim that you have nothing to worry about. Just eat as much meat as you like. The body's buffer system, the paleo folks tell us, will take care of the excess acidity. They claim it is a scientific fact. But when we take a closer look at our sophisticated body ecology, well, we'll realize that this idea is not based on science at all. It's a myth. It's bunk science. So the vegans, the raw foodists, and the vegetarians are actually correct. We do need to eat more alkaline food to stay optimally healthy. Still, many of us vegans and vegetarians may not understand the full complexity of what's going on, because many vegans and vegetarians are also too acidic and thus not so healthy. I have been there myself. I get off track, try to eat food that, normally what I found normal families eat. I can't eat that food. It makes me physically ill. I have to have more of an alkaline diet and less acid diet. Then I feel fantastic. Then I'm able to do not one workout, I'm able to do a chain of workouts, 3 or 4 sets at 82. And I've got striated muscles and a 6-pack and a hard body at 82. 130 pounds. Same height, same weight, same physical structure as Bruce Lee when he was in his 20s. And believe me, I'm no Bruce Lee. That man was totally amazing. That man was an amazing man. Anyway, the real story behind the advantage of an alkaline diet, here's the real story. The real story is, according to, I gotta have a sip of green tea. Oh, yeah. According to Dr. Gabriel Cousins, who has studied this issue for over 35 years, and the healthiest blood pH is between 7.42 and 7.50. It is in this range, he says, that the cells operate most efficiently. Our very life and health depends on the body's physiological power to maintain the stability of blood pH at approximately 7.46 through a process called homeostasis. That's the ideal range right there, 7.46. It is this issue that those who deny the importance of alkaline foods are missing. The need for maintaining homeostasis. If the blood pH becomes just slightly less than alkaline, below the 7.46 range, due to a breakdown of the body's buffer system, then the body's health mechanism also starts to break down. So how can we maintain homeostasis? We need to make sure that the body's buffering system is not overtaxed by eating too many acidic causing foods. For when the body is too acidic, we can suffer from osteoporosis, kidney stones, gallstones, and a number of other undesirable health challenges. So let's take a look at the fundamentals of pH and how the body regulates the acid-alkaline balance of its fluids on a moment to moment basis. See, I told you the body is incredibly efficient. I mean, it's all praises to the Most High God. He really created a incredible thing, our body. The body's pH measures how acidic or how alkaline a liquid is. It measures it. With respect to our physiology, the liquids involved are our bodily fluids, which can be categorized into two main groups: intercellular fluids found in our cells and extracellular fluids such as the plasma of blood and the intestinal fluids, which fills the space around the tissues, such as the lymphatic system, joints, nervous system, cardiovascular system, etc. As mentioned before, the blood plasma needs to maintain an optimum pH of about 7.46 for your cells to function properly. Through a complex system, our cells require the three-dimensional shapes of the proteins to maintain this homeostasis. The tiniest change of the pH of the body fluids will also change the blood pH. This is the missing piece many of the so-called experts are leaving out. How to read the pH scale. Each number on the pH scale represents a 10-fold difference from the number below or above. Thus, a liquid that has a pH of 6 is 10 times more acidic than the liquid of pH 7. And a liquid with a pH of 5 is 100 times more acidic than pure water. Health writer, Dr. Ben Kim, writes that when you ingest foods and liquids, the end products of digestion and assimilation of nutrients often results in an acid or alkaline forming effect. The end products are sometimes called acid ash or alkaline ash, ASH. He also writes that our cells produce energy on a continual basis. A number of different acids are formed and released into our bodily fluids. These acids, generated by your everyday metabolic activities, are unavoidable. As long as your body has to generate energy to survive, it will produce a continuous supply of acids. Dr. Ben Kim further explains that there are two main forces that can disrupt the pH of our body fluids: the acid or alkaline forming effects of foods and liquids, and the acids that we generate through regular metabolic activities. In addition, stress can also affect the acidity level in our body, since we tend not to digest food properly when we are stressed and on the run. But fortunately, The body has three main mechanisms to help us prevent these forces from shifting the pH of our blood outside the optimum range. The body's buffer, the secret to health. We have a buffer system of carbonic acids, a protein buffer system, as well as a phosphate buffer system. In addition, we also buffer ourselves through the exhalation of carbon dioxide and through the elimination of hydrogen ions via the kidneys. It is due to these facts that some experts deny that certain foods have a negative effect of our health by affecting the alkaline acidity balance. Their argument is that your body's own buffering system will take care no matter what you eat. But that is not true. When we eat junk foods with too much fat, especially animal fat, sugar, refined carbs, this buffering system is overtaxed and can no longer protect the blood from becoming too acidic, and then from maintaining homeostasis. And that's when we start getting sick. In the words of Dr. Ben Kemp, if your body fluids are regularly exposed to large quantities of acid-forming foods and liquids, your body will draw upon its calcium phosphate reserves to supply your phosphate buffer system to neutralize the acid-forming effects of your diet. Over time, this may lead to structural weakness in your bones and teeth. Similarly, a predominantly acid-forming diet could also increase our risk of developing calcium-rich kidney stones. Another common effect of a diet rich in acidic-producing foods and stress is acid reflux. It's therefore in our best interest to not overtax the body's buffering system by eating a diet that is rich in alkaline foods. Alkaline producing foods, all non-starchy vegetables and fruits have an alkaline forming effect on your bodily fluids. Say it again. All starchy vegetables and fruits have an alkaline forming effect on your body fluids. That means that potatoes and bananas are slightly more acidic than most other vegetables and fruits. For that reason, non-starchy fruits, berries, and vegetables should be the main bulk of our diet. Fortunately, nature has arranged it so that green vegetables such as kale and broccoli are not only very alkaline, these superfoods are also most nutrient-rich foods we can consume. Most legumes are semi-alkaline, while whole grains are more acidic. Grains are more acidic. And refined grains are actually having an acidic effect on the body. In addition, all meat products, eggs, fish, dairy, and sugar are also having an acidic effect when digested. Thus, these foods should be eliminated from the diet or greatly reduced. most grains, animal foods, and highly processed foods have an acid forming effect on our bodily fluids. The best combination is thus to have a diet of primarily alkaline forming foods and a lesser degree of acid forming foods. In other words, a vegan living mainly on protein bars will end up with an acidic and unhealthy bloodstream, while an omnivore eating lots of fruits, vegetables, and a small amount of meat, if you're a meat eater, or a small amount of dairy, well, they can stay healthy, they can stay alkaline and healthy, even though the meat and the dairy are highly acidic, because they're mainly getting the fruits and the vegetables. And they're not getting a lot of meat and they're not getting a lot of dairy, because if they're they're acidic. My personal experience, well, according to the author of this document, he was in his late 40s after being a vegetarian for over 30 years. And he discovered that a diet with too many carbohydrates can make the body acidic and sick. And he developed a chronic disease, which he eventually cured by a long juice fast. And juice fast is the most alkaline diet possible. And by a balanced diet of primary fruits and vegetables. And as he detoxed with a juice fast and became more alkaline, his chronic disease healed by itself. And his body's buffering system had become overtaxed, and his blood pH had lost its homeostatic balance, and he became sick. But once balance was restored through a more alkaline diet, his body's immune system and his body's immune system and because I lost my pointing here, and when somebody chimed in here from Telegram, it looks like. Anyway, I lost my place. Okay. Anyway, he became sick, and once balance was restored through a more alkaline diet, his body's immune system and healing mechanisms took over, and he recovered from a chronic disease no conventional or herbal medicines could fix, because you can't fix something that's broken up and torn apart till you put it back together and get the diet right. That's the power of the alkaline diet. That's the power of changing your eating habits, of changing your lifestyle. That's it. Summary, well, the body needs to maintain homeostasis, a blood level pH level of 7.46 in order to maintain good health. We do that by eating a diet primarily alkaline, about 60% alkaline and 40% acid. And if there's cancer or a disease going on, well, then you want 70% alkaline and 30% acid. And we have acid alkaline food charts that are on the website herbalhealthreview.com, and it's at the bottom of the Make Lifestyle Changes report down below into the diet. It gives you these acid alkaline food charts, so you can look at the food that you're eating and you can say, well, I'm eating this food and it's alkaline, and I'm eating that food and it's acid. Maybe I'm going to eat a little less acid and a lot more alkaline. That's what you do. and you primarily are having an alkaline diet. There is the body needs to maintain homeostasis, a blood level of about 7.46 in order to maintain good health. There is no need for paleo folks and vegans to go to war in a battle of words regarding what's right or wrong with alkaline diet. The facts speak for themselves. In essence, you can become acidic on any diet if you eat too much acid-forming foods, too much animal protein, fats, and too much sugar, and refined carbs, as well as too many deep-fried foods. Whether to be vegan, a vegetarian, or an omnivore well, in the end, more of a question of ethics, provided you eat an alkaline diet. But if you don't like to kill animals and you want to be kinder to the planet, then a vegan diet is certainly best. But if you just want to stay healthy, junk foods and animal foods need to be minimized or eliminated. The main bulk of your foods need to be alkaline. This is mainly fruits and vegetables. Okay? And the author, his name is Ramesh Bahons. Ramesh Bahons. He was the director of the Parma Wellness Center, where lifestyle is considered our best medicine. And he's also a writer and a yogi and workshop leader. And he studied yoga therapy in Nepal and India, and Ayurveda at the California College of Ayurvedic Medicine, and is a certified yoga detox therapist from the AM Wellness Center in Cebu, Philippines. He's taught workshops in many countries and is the author of 4 books, including Sacred Body, Sacred Spirit, Inner World, and Tantra, and the Yoga of Love and Awakening. So that's Ramesh Bahons. That's some good information. And we want to give him credit for that. So now, now let's get back out of here. Let's get to Herbal Health Review. And let's get back to Herbal Health Review. And if anybody has a question, a topic, or a suggestion, please go ahead and let us know what that question, topic, or suggestion is, and we'll talk about it here on Discoveries in Health. All right, we went for the acid alkaline diet. Now let's get back to Herbal Health Review. Herbal, okay, H-E-R. And going back to the herbalhealthreview.com website, where all of my work is published.
Dr. Truman.
Good afternoon, good evening, Barbara. How are you?
Oh, it's real busy. I already talked with you about it, but I wanted to share this testimony, and this testimony is regarding you. Somehow, the Most High God had me to do a research on you. I did it when I first came to you, and I had to do it again. I was so amazed. You've been an herbalist doctor for over 60 years.
Yeah.
Was wrong. And what's that lady's name? The herbalist that died and passed it to you?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The herbalist doctor that you was under that passed away,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he passed everything to you.
Dr. Myers, yes,
So kudos to you.
yes.
I'm out on Google looking at herbalist doctors. I haven't met one or seen one out as long as you. That's over 60 years. It's over 50 years, correct?
62 years so far, but who's counting?
He was a young guy.
Yeah, I was 19 years old, actually, when I first.
Well, everybody out here on this conference, they can Google search you and get the lowdown on you. I said, wow. Kudos to you.
Thank you, Barbara.
And another thing that I'm sorry to tell you, I would love, you deserve a donation. I lost your address. You deserve a donation from us, even if you send $5.
every.
Published over 60 years is a blessing to us.
Well, any donation. Thank you, Barbara.
Can you respectfully give me that address that I lost, okay?
Yes, and I want to thank you at any size, whether it's $1, 50 cents, whatever it is. I get nothing from the sale of any product. The only thing that I get is a donation, and for many years I got so little donations it was pretty desperate. But I'm getting more donations now, and every donation enables me to help more people. I'm able to help people, and I've got so many thousands of people now that we're able to help. But that address, if you wanted to mail.
Well, to share with you, I was raised by a beloved mother who told me every penny counts and it adds up. So I got convicted. I said, I got to get this address again.
Okay, here it is. 210-51. That's 21040-51, and the street.
Okay.
The street is Highland Knolls. Highland Knolls, Higland, and Knolls is
Say that again. H-I what?
Higland, Highland.
Okay.
And then Knolls, Knolls.
Okay.
Drive, yeah.
Okay.
And that's Katy.
Which is okay.
That's in Katy. Katy. Katy, Katy,
okay.
Texas.
Okay. Zip code.
And the zip code is 77450.
I noticed that you don't hardly say about donation and address, and that's because of your love for people.
Well,
all you want to do is help. All you want to do is help us. And I looked at this. I said, I got to get this address again.
well,
I truly apologize, but you deserve it. To be over 60 years still doing this stuff.
well, all praises to the Most High, and thank you for all your support. And folks, Barbara is a humanitarian. helps people worldwide. She's always helping somebody with groups of people with diabetes, seniors, etc. And kudos to you, Sister Barbara.
Well, our Heavenly Father do not want us to be selfish people.
No.
We're supposed to help each other out. And I'm not going to say anymore, but I love you. I love you for your work, and I'm not going nowhere as long as I'm giving the gift of life. Thank you and kudos to you. Amen and glory, hallelujah. I'm done.
Thank you, Barbara. Amen. Glory, hallelujah. So let's ask anyone here if you've got a question, if you have a topic, if you have something you wanted to learn that I should have talked about more. Maybe it's asthma, maybe it's lung disorders, maybe it's heart, maybe it's kidneys, maybe it's something else. If it is, if you'd like to learn something about natural remedies, and you'd like to make sure that, I want to make sure that you get your questions answered, okay? In the meantime, let's get on that website, herbalhealthreview.com. And let's take a look at the common conditions report. And we keep getting Alzheimer's disease. You keep hearing it over, dementia, over and over. We talked about it today, and here it is, it's up on the screen. So let's read more. Let's find out more about what Natural Remedies knows about dementia, Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease, it is an irreversible. It's irreversible. It's progressive. It's a progressive brain disorder that occurs gradually and results in memory loss. And one of the causes of it that's exacerbating it is toxins, air pollution. Our water is polluted, our air is polluted, our food is polluted. What's wrong with the people in charge? It's either their agenda or they're doing a horrible job. Follow the money. End of story. Alzheimer's disease, a brain disorder that occurs gradually and results in memory loss, unusual behavior, personality changes, and the decline in thinking abilities. Just can't do what you used to do. Can't remember things, can't do things. It just makes life very, very difficult. These losses are related to the death of brain cells and the breakdown of connections between them. The course of Alzheimer's disease varies from person to person, as does the rate of decline. On average, Alzheimer's disease patients live for 8 to 10 years on average after they're diagnosed. However, the disease can last for up to 20 years in a person. Alzheimer's disease advances by stages from early, mild forgetfulness to severe dementia. Often, these symptoms appear after the age of 60. The earliest symptoms include loss of recent memory, faulty judgment, and changes in personality. Often people in the initial stages of Alzheimer's disease, they think less clearly and forget the names of familiar people and common objects. Later in the disease, they may forget how to do simple tasks, like they forget how to wash their hands. Eventually, people with Alzheimer's disease lose all reasoning abilities and become dependent on other people for their everyday care. Finally, Alzheimer's disease becomes so debilitating that patients are bedridden and likely to develop coexisting illnesses. Most commonly, people with Alzheimer's die from pneumonia. And pneumonia, when we're talking about pneumonia, you need to know about colloidal silver water and a nebulizer, and nebulizing, getting that colloidal silver water into the air and breathing it so that the submicroscopic particles of silver can penetrate these pneumoniae cells and this pneumonia and disable the oxygen and disable those cells. Any bacteria, any fungus, any bacteria or a fungus, that's what it does. The silver particle penetrates the cell, disables the oxygen of these bad cells, and they die. And pneumonia is gone in 72 hours normally when you know how to do this. My sister had chronic pneumonia all of her life, must have had it about 40 to 50 times, and being a tough cookie, she survived it all the time, every time. But as she got older, it got harder to get over that pneumonia. But about that time, I invented a little box called a colloidal silver water generator, a little box that makes colloidal silver water. I sent her one, and anytime she gets pneumonia now, and she still gets it, because she has a very weakened body condition. She had a virus when she was 11 years old, and it just about killed her. She was 12 years old, and when she got that virus, she was back to being like about a 2-year-old. And she fought her way back out of it and became a great humanitarian, was helping homeless children and so forth all of her life. And she's still alive because she uses that colloidal silver water generator to get rid of the pneumonia within 72 hours. And she uses the other herbs and so forth that I continue to give her. And she's made it now, not with some terrible things happening along the way. She's 81 and she's still going. And every time she gets pneumonia, she gets out a colloidal silver water generator, makes a batch of colloidal silver water, and gets over colds, flus, viruses, and pneumonia. And she gets over it right away. So she knows how to do it. She knows what to do. And she just keeps right on going, even though she's been health challenged now for all of her life. And she's 81 years old and still going. The risk of developing Alzheimer's disease increases with age. But Alzheimer's disease and dementia symptoms are not a part of normal aging. These diseases and these illnesses, they're not normal. And when any doctor tells you, oh, that's normal for your age, shame on them. Alzheimer's disease and other dementia disorders in old age are caused by diseases. In the absence of disease, the human brain often can function well into the 10th decade of life and beyond. Information obtained from the National Institute of Aging, and that's what they say. Dementia is a brain disorder that seriously affects a person's ability to carry out daily activities. The most common form of dementia, among other people, is Alzheimer's disease, which involves the parts of the brain that control thought, memory, and language. Although scientists are learning more every day, right now, they still don't know what causes Alzheimer's disease, and there is no cure. Scientists think that as many as 4.5 million, 4.5 million Americans suffer from Alzheimer's disease. The disease usually begins after the age of 60, and risks go up with age. While younger people also may get Alzheimer's disease, it is much less common. About 5% of men and women ages 65 to 74 have Alzheimer's disease, about 5% in that 65 to 74 age range. And nearly half of those aged 85 and older may have Alzheimer's disease. Nearly half. It's important to note, however, that Alzheimer's disease is not a normal part of aging. It's not normal. Alzheimer's disease is named after Dr. Alois Alzheimer, a German doctor in 1906. And Dr. Alzheimer noticed changes in the brain tissue of a woman who had died of an unusual mental illness. He found abnormal clumps, now called amyloid plaques, and tangled bundles of fibers, now called neurofibrillary tangles. Today, these plaques and tangles in the brain are considered signs of Alzheimer's disease. Scientists also have found other brain changes in people with Alzheimer's disease. Nerve cells die in areas of the brain that are vital to memory and other mental abilities. There also are lower levels of some of the chemicals in the brain that carry messages back and forth between nerve cells. Alzheimer's disease may impair thinking and memory by disrupting these messages. What causes Alzheimer's disease? Scientists do not yet fully understand what causes Alzheimer's disease. There probably is not one single cause, but several factors that affect each person differently. Age is the most important known risk factor for Alzheimer's disease. The number of people with the disease doubles every 5 years beyond age 65. Family history is another risk factor. Scientists believe that genetics may play a role in many Alzheimer's disease cases. For example, familial AD, a rare form of AD that usually occurs between the ages of 30 and 60, is inherited. The more common form of AD is known as late onset. It occurs later in life, and no obvious inheritance pattern is seen. However, several risk factor genes may interact with each other to cause the disease. The only risk factor gene identified so far for late onset AD is a gene that makes one form of a protein called apolipoprotein. Apolipoprotein E, ApoE. Everyone has ApoE, which helps carry cholesterol in the blood. It's likely that other genes also may increase the risk of Alzheimer's disease or protect against Alzheimer's disease, but they remain to be discovered. The National Institute on Aging, part of the National Institutes of Health, is sponsoring the AD Genetics Initiative to recruit families with Alzheimer's disease to learn more about risk factor genes. To participate in this study, families should contact the National Cell Repository for Alzheimer's disease.
I'm sorry, Dr. Truman.
Hello. Yes.
My mother died from that.
From Alzheimer's.
My mother died from Alzheimer's. I looked up the word chemotherapy. In the middle of that word is mother. We carry the children. And you were saying genetic. Look up chemotherapy. In the middle, you see MOTHER. That's what my mother passed away from.
Yes.
My mother weighed her food. She ate healthy. She didn't have high blood pressure. But stress, family stress, took her into Alzheimer's.
Yes, it will do that.
Older people cannot be taken out of their element.
No.
My mother took care of over 40 children, youth, and families. Over 40 children. And she never wanted to stop. She had to stop. Alzheimer's.
Yes.
I just needed to share that.
Yes.
The women carry the children is in, and it could be on both sides or either or. But it's mother, because we carry the children. I needed to share that, and I lost my mother.
Yes. Thank you for sharing, Sister Barbara.
You're welcome. Glory to God.
Families that want to participate in the study regarding Alzheimer's disease, they can call the National Cell Repository. The National Cell Repository telephone number is 1-800-526-2839. That's 1-800-526-2839, or send an email to ALZSTUDY. That's All's Study at IUPUI.edu. And and you can be a part of that study so that we can find out more about Alzheimer's disease. Scientists still need to learn a lot more about what causes Alzheimer's disease. In addition to genetics and APOE, they are studying education, diet, and environment to learn what role they might play in the development of this disease. Scientists are finding increasing evidence that some of the risk factors for heart disease and stroke, such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and low levels of the vitamin folate, may predispose people to Alzheimer's disease. Evidence for physical, mental, and social activities as protective factors against AD is also increasing. What are the symptoms of AD? AD begins slowly. At first, the only symptom may be mild forgetfulness. Mild forgetfulness. In this stage, people may have trouble remembering recent events, activities, or the names of familiar people or things. They may not be able to solve simple math problems, such as, and such difficulties may be a bother, but usually they are not serious enough to cause alarm. However, the disease goes on. Symptoms are more easily noticed and become serious enough to cause people with AD or their family members to seek medical help. For example, people in the middle ages of AD, in the middle stages of AD, well, they may forget how to do simple tasks like brushing their teeth or combing their hair. They can no longer think clearly. They begin to have problems speaking and understanding and reading or writing. And later on, people with AD may become anxious or aggressive or wander away from home. Eventually, patients need total care. How is AD diagnosed? An early accurate diagnosis of AD helps patients with their families plan for the future. It gives them time to discuss the care while the patient can still take part in making those decisions. Early diagnosis will also offer the best chance to treat the symptoms of the disease. And as a matter of fact, early diagnosis of any health issue, and instead of letting it linger, so often many people, they suffer with something and they just ignore it because they have other family members or friends, relatives that have family problems and issues, and they're not thinking about themselves. They're thinking about everybody else. So it goes undiagnosed. And we're talking about all kinds of diseases. That happens a lot. I have people that come to me after the doctors have given up on them, and you know, and I always cringe because I pray that they could come to me sooner. before it goes on and on and on and on. It's so difficult for that person to get over. So please, if there's any kind of a health issue, let's nip it in the bud. Let's take care of it before it becomes something you can't control anymore. Today, the only definite way to diagnose AD is to find out whether there are plaques and tangles in the brain. To look at the brain tissue, however, doctors must wait until they do an autopsy, which is an examination of the body done after the person dies. Therefore, doctors can only make a diagnosis of possible or probable AD while the person is still alive, because they can't see they can't see that what condition the brain is in, having plaques and tangles. At specialized centers, doctors can diagnose AD correctly up to 90% of the time. Doctors use several tools to diagnose probable AD, including questions about the person's general health, past medical problems, and the history of any difficulties the person has carrying out daily activities. Tests of memory, problem solving, attention, counting, and language. Medical tests, such as tests of blood, urine, and spinal fluid, and brain scans. Some of these tests results help the doctor find other possible causes of the person's symptoms. For example, thyroid problems, drug reactions, depression, brain tumors, blood vessel disease in the brain can cause AD-like symptoms. Some of these other conditions can be treated successfully. Recently, scientists have focused on a type of memory change called mild cognitive impairment, MCI, which is different from both Alzheimer's disease and normal age-related memory change. People with MCI have ongoing memory problems, but they do not have other losses like confusion, attention problems, and difficulty with language. Scientists funded by the NIA are studying information collected from the memory impairment study to learn whether early diagnosis and treatment of MCI might prevent or slow further memory loss, including the development of Alzheimer's disease. Scientists are finding that damage to parts of the brain involved in memory, such as the hippocampus, can sometimes be seen on brain scans before symptoms of the disease occur. The NIA will be funding the AD, Alzheimer's disease neuroimaging initiative, a study that will find out whether brain scans can diagnose Alzheimer's disease early. These brain scans and other potential biomarkers have the potential for speeding the testing of drugs for MCI and AD. And
Dr. Truman,
yes, go ahead.
Dr. Truman,
Yes.
Let's not forget about alcoholism, drug use. Alcohol is a drug. A lot of people are dying from that. They're coming up with Alzheimer's and everything. It affects the brain. I'm working with a lot of people. Alcoholism. They hide it. I just had a bishop that was very sick, but he was drinking and silent.
Yeah.
He died. Drug use is majorly what's going on. What's bringing Alzheimer's and a lot of other diseases. This is serious now.
Yes.
And everybody want to hide behind the drinking of the wine, alcohol and wine and everything. One is too many and 1,000 is never enough. It starts with one. And they're progressing. The younger people are, I go and sit at the steak store and see all them people going in and out. It is.
Yes. Drugs and alcohol.
You're right. It's terribly bad and it's killing. It's killing our younger children. The stress of it. What's going on? COVID. All this thing going on. They're getting addicted to drugs. Alcohol is a drug.
Yes. And a poison.
Hard to say. I'm working with a lot of people.
Oops, you're breaking up. I don't know what happened here. Okay.
Addicted.
Whoa.
Dementia is bringing up everything. They dying. They dying.
Yes. Thank you for your testimony, your support, Sister Barbara. So, no treatment can stop AD. So how is AD treated? AD is a slow disease, starting with mild memory problems and ending with severe brain damage. The course of the disease takes, and how fast changes occur, vary from person to person. And on average, AD patients live from 8 to 10 years. AD patients live from 8 to 10 years after they're diagnosed. And though the disease can last for as many as 20 years. No treatment can stop AD. However, some people in the early and middle stages of the disease, the drugs Tacrin, Cognex, and donepezil, Aricept, and rivastigmine, Exelon, or galanitamine, and razidine, formerly known as Rimonil, may help prevent some symptoms from becoming worse for a limited time. Another drug, memantine, Namenda, has been approved for treatment of moderate to severe AD. Also, some medicines may help control behavioral symptoms of AD, such as sleeplessness, agitation, wandering, anxiety, and depression. And not only are there medications that they use for sleeplessness, agitation, wandering, anxiety, and depression, but there are also natural remedies that will help these situations as well. Treating these symptoms often makes patients more comfortable and makes their care easier for caregivers. Developing new treatments for AD is an active area of research. Scientists are testing a number of drugs to see if they prevent Alzheimer's disease or slow the disease or help to reduce the symptoms. There is evidence that inflammation in the brain may contribute to Alzheimer's damage. And if we're looking at inflammation of the brain, I'm thinking of the herb turmeric curcumin that crosses the blood-brain barrier and reduces inflammation. Maybe that would be something that would be helpful. However, they're more interested in drugs than they are natural remedies. They are not interested in natural remedies because, folks, it's all about the money. Some scientists believe that drugs such as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs might help slow the progression of AD. Although recent studies of two of these drugs, rofecoxib, Vioxx, and naproxen, Aleve, have shown that they did not delay the progression of AD in people who already have the disease. Now, scientists are studying the NSAIDs, Celebrex, and naproxen to find out if they can slow the onset of the disease. Research has shown that vitamin E slows the progress of some consequences of AD about 7 months. Scientists are now studying vitamin E to learn whether it can prevent or delay AD in patients with MCI. Recent research suggests that ginkgo biloba may be an herb of some help in treating with AD symptoms. There's no evidence that ginkgo will cure or prevent AD. Scientists now are trying to find out whether ginkgo biloba can delay or prevent dementia in older people. Recent findings about the Women's Health Initiative, WHI, highlight the importance of clinical trials, which are studies to find out whether a treatment is both safe and effective. Earlier studies have suggested that the hormone replacement therapy that millions of women take after menopause may be protective against Alzheimer's disease. However, the WHI clinical trial found an increased risk of AD in women taking hormones as compared with those taking an inactive pill. The trial used a commonly prescribed pill combining estrogens and progesterone, and further studies on estrogen alone and other hormone preparations, such as an estrogen patch. These studies continue. Alzheimer's disease is, well, it's progressing through 3 stages. In people with Alzheimer's disease, changes in the brain may begin 10 to 20 years before any visible signs or symptoms appear. Some regions of the brain may begin to shrink, resulting in memory loss, the first visible sign of Alzheimer's disease. Over time, Alzheimer's disease progresses through 3 main stages: mild, moderate, and severe. Because there is currently no way of looking inside a living brain to see the damage Alzheimer's disease causes. These stages are characterized by a collection of signs, symptoms, and behaviors the people with Alzheimer's disease experience. Stages. Stage 1, mild. Mild Alzheimer's disease, people with mild Alzheimer's disease often seem healthy, but they are actually having trouble making sense of the words of the world around them. It often takes time for an observer to realize that something is wrong because the initial symptoms are often confused with changes that take place in normal aging. Signs and symptoms of mild Alzheimer's disease can include memory loss and changes in expressive speech, confusion about the location of familiar places, taking longer to finish routines, daily tasks, routine daily tasks, taking longer to finish them, difficulty with simple math problems, and related issues like handling money, paying bills, or balancing a checkbook, poor judgment, which leads to bad decisions, mood and personality changes, and increased anxiety. These are in the stages of mild Alzheimer's. In stage 2, moderate Alzheimer's disease, you will see the damaging process occurring in the brain worsen and spread to other areas that control language, reasoning, sensory processing, and thought. In this moderate stage 2, this stage, signs and symptoms become more pronounced and behavioral problems can occur. Signs and symptoms of moderate Alzheimer's disease can include memory loss. Number one thing you do, make lifestyle changes. That's number one. What else may be helpful? Well, it may be helpful to detoxify from heavy metals. Herbs like garlic, chlorella, cilantro, coriander will absorb heavy metals that can cause brain disorders. Okay, so using foods that absorb heavy metals may be very helpful. There are some capsules called memory boost capsules that may be helpful. There is a memory and focus kit. Let's take a look and see what would be in a memory focus kit or a memory focus plus kit. Okay, let's take a look. And what we're looking at here, a memory and focus kit would have herbs that are focused on focus support. That would be in an herbal formulation called 1006. Let's see what herbs help memory focus. Okay. And the herbs that are in a memory focus formula include ginkgo biloba leaf, gotu-kola leaf, that clears the mind. Erythrococcus synococcus, also called Siberian ginseng, which gives you mental stamina. Then there's an herb called fotai root that was used by one of the oldest Chinese men that had a really sharp mind and memory, and he lived to be well over 100, and he always used the herb Fotai root. That was his longevity herb. That's in this formula. Valerian root is in there to be a sedative. Mistletoe helps with memory, and skullcap leaf is an herb that is a sedative and calms the nervous system. Hops, flowers, is also an herb that is a sedative herb that calms the nervous system. Passion flower is a sedative herb, and it's the only sedative herb that doesn't make you sleepy. It just calms the nervous system. So if you don't want to be sleepy, you're taking passion flower. If you do want to be sleepy, you're taking some hops and skullcap and valerian root and mistletoe. Those will make you sleepy. But they'll also work on soothing the brain when they're in the proper formulation. And that is a formulation that helps you to focus, because the ginkgo increases circulation to the brain. The gotu kola is clearing the mind and making your thoughts clearer. The erythro, Siberian ginseng, stamina. Fotai root, endurance and mental clarity. So anyway, that is a formula that could be helpful when there is, and that's what a memory focus kit would have in it, herbs like that, and it would also have a brain support herbal formulation, and herbs that stimulate the memory and the mind. That's what's in a memory focus kit number 4465. So Alzheimer's, turmeric root, I already mentioned that, because it's anti-inflammatory and it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it's an effective pain reliever. It contains at least 2 chemicals, which are curcumin and curcuminoids, which decrease inflammation and are very much like the oft-prescribed anti-steroidal, anti-inflammatory drugs, the NSAIDs, which and again, turmeric crosses the blood-brain barrier and will reduce inflammation in the brain, and it also is a blood cleaner. Okay, turmeric could be very valuable for Alzheimer's. Ginger root is another herb that may be helpful, because ginger is a tasty, aromatic herb. It's a time-tested medicine for stomach distress, and it's used by nearly every population in the world. Ginger's effect on motion sickness and nausea has been thoroughly proven. So it's not surprising that European practitioners use ginger root for almost any type of indigestion. It reduces spasms and absorbs and neutralizes toxins in the digestive tract and increases digestive secretions, including bile and saliva. Ginger contains ingredients that soothe the gastrointestinal tract and aid digestion by increasing the peristalsis that moves the food through your gut. A study from India demonstrated that ginger speeds up the time it takes the stomach to empty, a benefit for feeling the feelings of abdominal discomfort and bloating. Ginger root is very safe, and you can consume it as desired in food, or use up to 3 grams. 3 grams, that's 3,000 milligrams per day in capsules, or just chopping up the root and using plenty of it, like a teaspoon of it, of chopped fresh root. It's brewed as a tea and take it about 3 times a day. There's an herb called astragalus. It's not, astragalus is not often that powerful herb. It's not often that a powerful herb like astragalus actually tastes delicious, but astragalus is a soup herb. It's put in soups. It's a Chinese herb that is a Chinese energizer. It energizes people. It increases the immune system. It's helping to increase and build the immune system, and it proves to be the exception from a lot of other herbs. It's used to assist healing from chronic illness, and that's historically been used as a stamina tonic. Astragalus boosts energy, increases stress adaptation, and is particularly antiviral, and amplifies the efficiency and the efficiency of many types of immune functions. Traditionally, night sweats, wasting disorders, chronic ulcerations, and sores, numbness, edema, calls for using astragalus. We could get just really into even more astragalus, even more and more, but let's get on here. Ginkgo leaf, we already talked about. Gotu-kola leaf. It's getting into the depths of how those herbs work, and we don't have time to get into that depth. But all of that information is listed in detail, and those herbs are listed and talked about and written about in detail in the Alzheimer's report on the website herbalhealthreview.com under common conditions. We have come to the top of the hour, and that's about it for today. I want to thank you for joining us here and invite you and all your friends and anybody you know to join me here on this free class that we're having all about herbs and natural remedies, discoveries in health. Join me every Thursday or any Thursday that you're available. And I want to thank you again. My telephone number is 503-362-5899. My email address is truman@herbalhealthreview.com. And again, thank you. And let's get a closing prayer. And then let's open up the microphones and all praise the Most High together. Again, let's get to that closing prayer. Where is my closing prayer? I don't see it there. My goodness. All right, let's go find it then. EPH. And let's get over here. And there it is, right there. So let's go over to Ephesians. And let's look at Ephesians and put on that whole body armor of God. And I'm on my way to doing that, but I've got to come back and get to the need to line this up, folks. Give me a minute. I can do it. And we want how about Ephesians 6. There we go. Ephesians 6. There we go. This should get us what we're trying to do here. Thanks for your patience. Well, I lost my tab. I don't know what happened to it here. It was there when I left it there. Okay. And finally, brethren, in Jesus Christ's name, here we are, praising, worshiping, and thanking the Most High God. And we are here in the King James Version of the Bible, reading Ephesians, and we're starting on Ephesians 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel. All praises to the Most High. In Jesus Christ's name, all praises to the Most High. In Jesus Christ's name, all praises to the Most High, brothers and sisters. Pray with me, please.
High, praises to the Most High.
Thank you. All praises to the Most High. In Jesus Christ's name.
All praises to the Most High. The highest, the highest. All praises.
No. Yeah.